Like, oh, okay. All right, here we go. See all. Why am I acting like I don't do this? But I don't see you in here, Liza. Don't let Donnell steal your shine. Where is she? All right, I'm gonna wait. I know he's getting pizza. Donnell was actually here. I actually saw Donnell yesterday. We went to eat at Tilly's. That's our spot with DJ Dahlia. If you're ever in Brooklyn and you go to Tilly's, just ask for DJ Dahlia. All right, okay, here we go. Now I'm requesting Liza. Let's see what happens. You said, yay! Okay, good.
I figured it out. That's how you know I'm never on here. Hold on.
Let's see. Cut off. There we go.
Hi. Were you just on here with Donnell?
Wipe the camera. You're a little fuzzy.
I know. You know, my girlfriend told me that, and I don't know why it's like that.
Let me see. Let's see if this helps.
Is it better?
All right. Yeah, sure.
It's a little pacey. Okay, that's a no. But that's okay. But you know what? I feel like calling back on my other phone because I feel like
it looks fine.
Okay, how you doing?
I'm good. It's good to see your face.
Good. You too, Miss Red Lip. How you doing?
Listen, somebody was like, Angela, you at least got to put on a lip. You got to stop doing these lives and not on. So I put on a little lip. But
yes,
so
and
everybody, if y'all are wives, this is my girl Liza Morales. She's on this season of basketball. No, she does not have a S6, whatever somebody said.
A who?
Six.
No, I don't have a damn 6. I'm about to peel this thing off that's blocking the camera. I think that's what it is. I have one of those protector things, and I think it's over the camera.
All right. Well, it's not too bad. So I want to make sure it took a while for me to get you on here. So thank you for upgrading your app.
Yes. Yes. I'm never on here. So my daughter just creeped on in here. So sorry, I got distracted. Yes, I'm never on here. I had to update the app, but I'm here. I'm 15 minutes late, but I'm here.
Okay, that's no problem. Donnell kind of held it down for you for a moment.
Thank you.
So for people who don't know who Liza is, she's on Basketball Wives on this new season. She be real low key. So I was like, I can't believe she's doing Basketball Wives, but you have 2 children now with Lamar Odom. They're pretty grown now.
Yes, they are. They're grown.
One of them's on.
They're big.
And you said, when I said we're going to do this, you said I could ask you about anything. So we will do that, and y'all can, chime in as well. So first of all, I know this is the first question that everyone's going to ask. Why Basketball Wives?
You know what? First of all, when Shawnee O'Neal calls, you do pick up the phone, honestly. So Shawnee called, reached out to me, and I felt like the timing was good. They've asked me before now. They asked me LA. They were also going to do a New York. A couple of years ago, they reached out. I was like, because I do, I love my privacy.
I know.
But I feel like my family's story has been so public. And I couldn't hide anymore. I felt like, let me get out there. Let me share my story. And so, yeah, I was like, you know what? I'll do it. I'll do it.
And it's crazy. People may not know this, but you were on a show like I first met you. Yes. You had, right? What was that show? Starter? What's it called?
Starter Wives. Shout out to LaShawn. Yes, Starter Wives. Yes. Starter Wives. That was I guess that was a little tease because it didn't last long. It got canceled after a couple of episodes, so it didn't last long. But I feel like I also did that show because I feel like my story was being told for me. And I was like, I'm not going to have that happen. I have to go out there and tell my own story. At the time, that's when Lamar got married to Chloe. So right. I felt like so much was happening all at once and my story was being narrated for me.
So let's discuss that. You and Lamar actually knew each other since like 9th grade or something, right?
Yeah, something crazy like that. Yes. Like 14, 15 years old. Yeah, we go way back.
Yeah, so, and that's unusual. Like, y'all came up together, and the plan was, were you guys engaged ever?
We got engaged in 2001. Yes, that was we were going to get married. You know, we had our kids. Everything happened so fast. We had our kids super young. We were so young and dumb. So everything was just so, you know, I was 20 years old when I had my daughter at 19. So everything was just quick. And we've known each other for a really long time. So, and I grew up.
You know, because on the Basketball Wives, they seem to feel like you're not over him.
And that's some bullshit. Like, to me, you know, I feel like because I don't put I don't put who I'm dating, I don't put who I'm seeing out there, people think like I'm waiting. And it's like, that ship sailed so long ago. And trust me, I don't want that man. And I got really like, it's really like insulting, honestly, when the ladies say, do you want Lamar back? It's like, why would I?
Right.
Why would I?
Yeah, broken up maybe like, what is it, 15 years ago now?
Yeah, we broke up in 2000. You know what I mean? And then right after we had our son passed away in 2006, and we both grieved very, very differently. You know, I leaned on those, and we grieved so differently, and we grew apart. And it happens, right? I think 2009 he met Chloe, so we were already done for like 2 years. So I don't know why people think that. I think, like I said, because I don't put.
You think that that's really what kind of made him turn to drugs, you think, is just when your son passed?
I think that's when it got really out of control, for sure.
And all right. Yeah, I mean, was it really bad when you were with him? Like even before that, there are things that were like, okay, he might need help or
Yeah, I mean, he's always had, but we have to remember, we were like 1920, and I didn't know, we didn't talk about like depression and like, you know, when we talk about addiction, we're going back like 20 years. Like, it was like, oh, you talk about like the drunk uncle at the table, right? So like our Thanksgiving table, like you make your little jokes. But looking back, oh, 100%, like it was always there. You know, he would sleep all day when he wasn't working, when he wasn't playing. And I thought, oh, he's just tired. You know, he's all over the country. But looking back, there were little things, for sure. He dealt with a lot of childhood trauma. When you don't address your trauma, it chases you down throughout your whole life.
you also dealt with depression. I saw you did a post about it too. What was that?
Yeah.
You clinically diagnosed with depression?
I was in 2009. I was walking around severely depressed. I mean, for like 2.5 years without even knowing. And somebody told me, like, I think you are severely depressed. And like I said, we don't talk about, that's like kitchen table talk that we don't talk about. And so my family never talked about it with me, and, you know, my friends. So I had no idea. I just thought, of course, I thought I was grieving, but I didn't realize how bad it was.
Right. And I also saw people were saying some things about on the show. You, I guess, all right, talk to me about this. College education, right?
Mm-hmm.
College, and there, you guys had an account set up for him so that the money
Both of
would.
them. Both of them.
So Lamar has that money. Like, what's going on with the money? Because they're saying, okay, you know, you're saying, tell your dad where's the money. He's avoiding me. Give him the money for college. What is going on with that? Break that down.
Yeah, I gotta clear this up for the people, because I don't read my Instagram, my media, but I keep getting feedback from people that are like, a lot of people are like, bitch, get a job, bitch, you know, make it work. Like, your son wants to go to college, like, let him work 5 jobs. I get that. But the thing is this, when the money was put away many years ago into a 529 plan, and I didn't grow up knowing what a 529 plan is, but a 529 plan is specifically for educational purposes. And these are the things that we don't grow up knowing about, like finances and money, right? Like, those conversations didn't happen in my family. So for our kids, that stuff was set up. A 529 plan wasn't to be touched legally. It wasn't to be touched except for education. And when it came down, so I always thought my kids were set. Who doesn't want their kids set? Education is the most motherfucking expensive thing in this country.
And we have about that right now, like trying to, you know, excuse student loan debt. I just think about how long it took me to pay off my student loans. You know how amazing it would be to not have to worry about that burden, where you can do internships, not have to worry about money. You can do jobs when you get out of college and not have to think, I have to make X amount of money to be able to survive. So yes, it's a big deal.
It's a huge deal. And I thought for many years, no matter what, we know how these guys, like a lot of times they leave the league, you know, the situation changes, yes, but I always thought my kids would be straight, and that was the most important thing to me. And so when I'm asking, we need access to it, where is it? And I'm getting mum's the word, I'm getting no response, I'm getting, well, how much does he need, what's the tuition, but I'm not getting access to that 529 plan. I knew there was a problem. I mean, we're not going to deny that, you know, Lamar, you know, has struggled with addiction. And we know when it comes to addiction, you know, there are people who gamble the family home and they lose the home. So, you know, they have a gambling problem. So we know that these things happen to families. And I feel like that wasn't my storyline going in. That wasn't my storyline. That was real life, and it happened in real time, because when the pandemic and quarantine and when we started filming again, real time, I was like, where's the money? Real time, what's up with the 529 plan? We need access to it. Real time. So of course I'm going to talk about that. Of course I was frustrated, and yes, I went on IG and I was like, where's the money? And I was emotional. You know what I mean? I was emotional. So I was like, cut the fucking check. You know?
Has he responded yet?
No, I haven't spoken to him since.
Sheesh. So, but he did reach out to him though, right? About the money.
I did. Yeah. I reached out to him when I couldn't really get a hold of him. I was like, you know what? You're going to have to try to get a hold of him. And you're going to have to try to you're old enough to just try. Like, I've tried so hard to co-parent. And I think that's because of how I grew up and my parents not being able to get along. So I tried so hard. But when you're dealing with an addict, it is so hard. It's such a roller coaster. Like, one minute, Lamar and I were cool. We're super cordial. The next, we're not. And right now we're not.
So you also went through a period of abstinence, right? Where you weren't dating anybody or having...
Let me take my water. Yes. I had to figure myself out. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like a lot of times people jump from relationship to relationship and they don't know who they are. And I was really young when I was at Lamar. I had to figure myself out.
Yeah, that was like your first, maybe only love too, because like in ninth grade.
Right. Like, that's like puppy love. That's like, at the time, that's what you think like love is. That's what you think it's all about. Right. So I feel like, I mean, now looking back and like, I'm like, oh, like, you know, young and dumb, right? But yeah, I did practice that for a really, really, really long time. And you know what? Like, there's plenty of women that are loosey-goosey and no judgment. So my thing is, don't judge me.
Listen, no, and I'm all for it. So
Yeah,
how long was your period of...
It was a minute. It was a minute. It was a New York minute. Oh, no, it was a minute. It was a minute.
Oh, but so this guy you're dating now, I know you don't post him, but how long have y'all been together? Because I know on the show they're acting like you don't date. They're just like over him still.
Well, I'm not seeing anybody now. COVID, like, that really, like, I had girlfriends that were like dating throughout COVID, and I was like, are you fucking crazy? Like, I couldn't do it. I don't, you know, like, I didn't. So, but I feel like now that we could have like those tests, like, you know, those instant tests that can come to the house, I feel like it's gonna be so much easier to get back out there. But I did take a long break because of COVID, honestly, like quarantine and all that. I wasn't quarantine dating, like, you know.
Did you enjoy filming?
You know, in the beginning, before COVID came, you know, yeah, it was cool. You know, like, a lot of people, they were like, oh, are you scared? Like, you know what those ladies are about? Like, they really get down. And I was like, no, like, I'm from New York. Like, what the fuck am I gonna be scared about? You know what I'm saying? Like, I take the train with John Schmo, who's like naked. Like, you know what I mean? Like, with a hammer, like, in his ass. So I feel like, why would I be scared of these ladies? You know what I mean? And honestly, they've been super dope with me. I know that could change, like, in a minute, but I feel like for now they've been dope. So I have a good experience.
Separate houses too. So did you meet everybody?
You know, you will have to stay tuned. Yes, they did have us in two separate houses.
I'm trying to
It
get
was
some spoilers, buddy.
yeah, you gotta stay tuned. It was kind of like you know, house A, house B, and like people. I kind of felt like we'd go back and forth, and you'll have to stay tuned to see what happens with all that. You
Now,
know,
one
something.
colorism issue that OG has. Okay, she feels that Evelyn is a colorist and said things to her about her and posted things on social media. What do you think about
My thing is, like, obviously I wasn't there, right? But obviously I heard about, and even while we were filming, it was a major issue. And we know colorism is a major issue. Um, I don't know like what's going on between OG and Evelyn and Shawnee too. I know she's mentioned Shawnee too in that whole situation. I only know what Shawnee and Evelyn have told me. Um, I I can't speak for OG. I can't feel for. I can't. I'm not a dark skinned Black woman. I can't. So for me to speak out, I'd be speaking way out of my lane. Obviously, she's had a lot of trauma, and she's had a lot of like really wild stuff told to her. Um, so I really, that's a lane like I know I can't touch. I don't know what that's like to be literally in her skin and how she's been treated, honestly.
All right, I'm gonna take some of these questions on here too. You think Lamar's scared to tell you that like he doesn't have the he won't just say it?
You know, um, I don't know if he's scared, but my thing is this, like, even if you took all the money and like I've heard so many stories. I've heard he went gambling with it. I heard he spent it like in, you know, the strip club. Like I've heard so many stories, and my thing is this, just be honest and say, you know what, if it's not there, it's not there. And this is what I'm gonna try to make certain things happen. Regardless, I made it work. My son's in school. So I made it work. You know, that was months ago. But the whole situation, and that just goes right, really it ties back into the whole addiction situation and how we get sucked into that world.
Right.
um and that's another reason why I did the show, because I was like, I'm going to be a face to it. Like a lot of families deal with it. We're not unique. It's just that our shit is in TMZ, you know what I mean, and page 6. But I feel like especially now, like people are hurting and people are struggling out here. And I felt like it was crazy timing, because I feel like our stuff, I do feel like people can relate, and if you can't relate, great, I'm happy for you that you can't relate to addiction and mental health and what happens, you know, when athletes, you know, certain situations when they retire or whatever. So yeah.
You know what I think the most hurtful part is that even if your son's not saying it, that has to hurt.
Oh, of course, of course. um I feel like it hurts because my kids, you know, they grew up, their father was like a hero, right? Like I feel like everybody kind of wants, like, you look up to somebody, and I think, you know, at the end of the day though, they do know they have me. I've been there no matter what, you know what I mean? And um the reality though, honestly, I feel like the reality is they know that it's been real up and down, and my whole thing that I'm trying to teach them is that's not normal.
Mm-hmm.
That's not normal behavior. That's not something you accept. And you have to work things out. You have to work on yourself. So that's kind of what I've been talking to my kids about.
Now, for people who want to know how you make, I see people being like, "Oh, why are you trying to get da, 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 da. This was money that was put aside in a savings." But what have you been doing, like that you do for a living, to make
So
money?
so many years ago, I want to say this, about 13 years ago, I did start a clothing line, an organic clothing line out in LA. We were in Kitson. We were in many boutiques, but this is around the time of that first depression. And so obviously the economy wasn't good. So I did work on that. That was like a couple of years. That was a passion project. And then yes, I was a stay-at-home mom for years. I'm not gonna deny that that's hard work,
Mhm.
especially when you're a single mom. That's work, and it's honestly underpaid and underappreciated. But I got back into the workforce when my kids got older. I got my real estate license. I think you probably remember around that time. I got my real estate license here in New York. I was doing real estate. So I feel like when people are like, you know, bitch, you don't know me. You're assuming because of society, you're assuming like I'm a gold digger. You know, all I do is shop all day. Like, come on now. Like, you don't even know me. Just like sit back and just like watch the show and get to know me a little bit. If you don't want to get to know me, then change the channel.
Listen, and you've always getting your hustle on. At one point, I thought you was gonna move to Brooklyn, so I was like, okay, let's do this.
Yes, you remember that? Yes, yes. And I still, you know what? I love Brooklyn, and I know you were like, come to Brooklyn, come to Brooklyn. You and LaShawn both like, come to Brooklyn. So, yes.
Yeah, so I just want to make that clear though, because you have always worked. And I remember we had you and your daughter on the show. We were talking about the CBD line and you
Yes.
were early on that too back then too. So, and I
Yeah.
know like different things, some things work, some things don't, but you've always been a
Exactly. I feel, and that's what you got to do. You got to keep going. Like that CBD, I remember that was years ago because we've always kind of worked with CBD. And then I found another company that was super dope. Their product was based out of Brooklyn, Lock and Key. And they're based out of Brooklyn. And I feel like I started their products. And once they found out, they were like, let's partner up. Let's do an ambassadorship. So like, I already knew their products worked. And I was like, yeah, let's do this. Like, to me, I'm only going to work with something that I actually believe in. So that last CBD company that we went up there with, you know, I thought it would have been a good fit. It wasn't. You got to keep it pushing. You got to get on to the next. So that's what we did.
really wants me to turn some lights on, but I ain't gonna lie, Issa, I've been working all day. I'm trying to relax, talk to my girl like we in drinks together. Where are you now?
I'm in New York now. Like once COVID hit and like all that's my family's here. You know what I mean? Like for a long time I was separated from my son. I was out in LA and my daughter, we didn't want to fly. Like we were like, we need hazmat suits, like freaking Naomi. You know what I mean? See, like we didn't want to get on a plane. And so we were stuck in LA and then my son was here with my mom. Everything happens for a reason. He held down grandma. And, but now we're here. We're in New York for a little bit and then, you know, we'll go back.
Is there another season of basketball wise? I know it kind of ended real quick.
It did end. Well, people are gonna have to stay tuned for that. But yes, it did end quick. I don't know. That's honestly something that I guess we're waiting to hear back. You know, I do feel like I hope there is because I feel like everything ended abruptly and I feel like I didn't get to really like be myself. And you know what I mean? Because we were like in a house and it was like we didn't get to really have fun or whatever, you know? So I feel like there's a lot of unfinished business, you know?
Yeah.
But you gotta
Back.
you gotta stay tuned. Yeah, there's a lot of unfinished stuff. Yeah.
So, okay, let's talk about what you're looking for in a guy. Because since you're not dating anybody right now, I'm just curious, like, what does Liza want in life? What kind of guy would be ideal for you just based on things that have happened in the past, who you've been with, what worked, what didn't work, you know, what do you want?
Um, okay, you gotta be a man of good character. Like you gotta have some character, right? Um, you gotta be smart. You gotta hold a conversation. I want to be able to conversate with somebody, right? Like I don't want somebody who's just who's not like multidimensional. You know what I mean? And know many. I want to be able to chop up about anything. And I won't discriminate.
Okay.
I don't
So,
discriminate. So I will date, you know, Ken Barbie. I will date a white man. Like, yeah, I don't discriminate. So I'm, you know, yeah, I'm
wow,
open.
what about Asian?
You know what? There's some really hot Asian men. I've never dated Asian, but I would. I would. Yeah.
Now, let me
Actually,
ask you this.
yeah.
We had Sabrina Parr on Lip Service, and you know she's been doing a lot of interviews, and she also had the show Behind Every Man. And Lamar has had some things to say about her. So, what's your experience with her? Because they were engaged. I know she's met the kids. Did you ever meet her?
I met her. I don't want to give her too much air because I know that's what she wants. Um, you know, when I first met her, we were cool. Like we were cordial. My thing is like, and this goes right back to wanting the best for Lamar, right? Um, my kids met her first, obviously. And after being around her a couple of times, they're like, oh, okay, you know, she's fine. Like she's cool, right? Because obviously they're always a little guarded because they're like, we don't know, like with dad's decisions sometimes, right? And then when I met her, I was like, okay, fine. And then something shifted, and within a couple of months. And my kids were like, I don't know. I feel like she really like is in it for the wrong reasons. And I feel like, and then I'm sure people remember like my son around the time they got engaged, like, you know, my son was like, I feel like she just wants clout. Like, you know, right away, they were only together for like less than 30 days. She wanted, like, they both wanted a reality show that
Wow.
they never got, or I think they got it, but they got
Yeah.
like 3-minute episodes or something like that. But so she got, you know, what she wanted. But I just feel like, so that changed. And then when I got around, and then of course it changed when she got in my daughter's face. Like I wasn't there. But when she got in my daughter's face, I was like, oh, it's done. Like we sat down, we talked about it. Yeah. She got in my daughter's face. And that, my daughter's old enough, but my daughter never been to jail. Like my daughter doesn't know that life. You know what I mean? Like my
No,
daughter, like,
back up. She got in your daughter's face
mm-hmm,
for
mm-hmm.
what?
I wasn't there, but the accounts that I've heard, I had literally just left. And my daughter was talking on the phone, and a lot, I don't want to get too deep into it, but she lied, and she said, now one thing I will say about my daughter may be a lot of things, and I'm her mama, so I could say it, but she's not a liar. I know my daughter's not a liar. So when you question that, we're going to have a problem. And we sat down, we talked the very next day. I was like, Sabrina, we need to talk. She agreed. We sat down like ladies. And I told her that can never happen again. That can never happen again. Like, you know, some things were said. She said my daughter talked about her son, a little boy, a little 5 or 6, I don't know how old he is, a little boy. Why would my daughter talk about a little boy? And, you know, whatever happened, like, I wish her the best. Like, I hope she gets custody of her kids back and all that stuff. Like, wish you the best, but like, you're not going to get in my daughter's space for sure.
So what about, okay, I know at first you were not too fond of Chloe, but I saw that Chloe had like, left a comment or maybe some heart or something happened on social media. So did y'all ever really like, you know, become cool during the course of him being with her?
So what happened with me and Chloe, I think, is looking back, again, hindsight, right? We were both strong-minded people, right? I'm Mama Bear. These are my kids. She didn't have kids yet. And I feel like looking back, but she was there for my kids. She would do certain things, even when their father wasn't there. Like she would take my son to the doctor, you know, do the cupcake. So she was a decent stepmom. She was a good stepmom. I will say that. And recently, her and I, we fixed things. We spoke.
Wow.
We spoke quite a few times in like the last, you know, before COVID and all that stuff. And we were just grown. Like, I wish her the best. She's a really cute daughter. Like, it's just grown stuff. Like, that's like, you don't hold grudges. Like, I feel like you don't hold grudges. And we spoke, she wishes my kids the best. And like, even like with all that stuff so public, with, you know, their fathers, Sabrina, like Chloe, she would reach out just to make sure the kids were good. Because I think at the end of the day, she knows like all this press and stuff, she knows it's like, it impacts the kids, it drags the kids back into it. So yeah, so then that was a surprise. I saw a little alert and it was like, you know, she liked one of my pictures. But yeah, privately, like we squashed everything. Like, and we both agreed, and she was like, look, I always respected you. We were both like strong-willed, and we bumped heads. But you know, of course I wish her the best, and my
Yeah,
kids
because
do too.
that you and Lamar were still together when he got with Chloe and he was cheating on her.
Right.
I
Which
mean,
was not
cheating on you with her.
right. 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 Which was not true. Right. And that's what I'm saying, like with the narrative being told, and you know how the media sometimes it can get like that. And I was, you know, the baby mama, and you know, that's such an insult because did they call Angelina the baby mama when it was Brad? No, but of course, you know, when it comes to our people, I'm the baby mama. And so all that stuff, like I feel like it was so messy and there was a lot of emotions, you know what I mean? Everything was so public. So, but looking back at it, it's just, you got to get on your grown shit. And to me, that's why I feel like move past it, and we did.
That's good. I'm glad to hear that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, listen, I know that this is your first time, and I'm honored to be the first person you've ever done a live with.
You popped my cherry. You popped my IG cherry. You called me on. You called me out. But like, I had to download the new version, but it was good. I feel like, you know, it's you, so I feel good. I feel good.
Listen, I'm gonna be watching this season and see what else happens because
Yeah, stay tuned.
you know, I hit you when I saw you was a video on Basketball Wives. I was like, girl, you doing Basketball Wives? You sure?
And it's so funny because you knew, but you were like, So I was like, I respected that because that's how you are. You keep it, So I respect that.
Yeah, no, listen, I just want people to know the real you. That's my whole thing. Like, you're a fun person. I feel like they're making it seem like you're like depressed and sad on the show.
And miserable and just like, at home, like, I mean, of course, like, sometimes do I get depressed? Yes. Am I depressed all day and all night, 7 days a week? No. Like, so I'm glad that you and I got to do this. And I know you mentioned for me to go on lip service too, so I'm gonna be on there too. I'll meet you girls over there. We'll talk a little deeper. But
we're gonna make sure you good. I think like, yeah, we're gonna get more into your dating life on lip service because I know somebody.
I know what it's about.
But okay. You already know whoever is with you is gonna be like just the luckiest person. So I do want to say that genuine sweet person. Your kids, and this time I feel like you've always been classy. You've kept it classy, kept it cute, not really tried to get attention. You've never wanted to seek those things out. So, that's just, I think that's dope.
Thank you, Yee. I appreciate you. You have a good night. I know you had a long day.
You had your little moments here and there where you might go, but fuck it. Like, that's life.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
All right, Liza. Well, I'll be watching you, and let's make sure we keep in touch. While you're in New York, we can actually go maybe get a meal or something.
Yeah, for sure. Yee. Thank you so much.